You may have seen headlines recently about record increases of CO2 in the atmosphere and weakening of carbon sinks and fears of accelerating global warming. And I just wanted to do a quick video talking about where all of this stuff has come from and what we should make of it. Basically, the WMO, the World Meteorological Organization, which is this UN agency that does everything to do with weather and climate and water and that kind of stuff, put out a report looking at how carbon dioxide changed in the Earth's atmosphere last year. And there were two big takeaways. The first was that we've hit a new peak concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere, which isn't surprising. Like, that record peak concentration has been increasing every year since I was born, and for quite some time before then, because we keep adding CO2 to the atmosphere. It's the other thing that has people more worried. Basically, the increase in that peak level of CO2 from 2023 to 2024 was 3.5 parts per million, which is the largest one-year increase since records began back in 1957. Meaning that at a time when we should be leveling off the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere, or even decreasing it, that would be nice, it's building up faster than ever before. And since higher CO2 concentrations leads to higher global average temperatures and greater climate change, the fact that CO2 levels are changing faster than before means that the climate is changing faster than before. Or in other words, climate change is accelerating. And that rightfully has a lot of people worried. But another reaction to this has been surprise. And it really shouldn't be, because this is exactly what scientists have been saying would happen for decades. Because as long as we keep burning fossil fuels for our energy supplies, the more CO2 we put in the atmosphere. And the greater the emissions of CO2, the greater the increase of CO2 in the atmosphere. Which means more energy getting trapped in the Earth's system, which raises average temperatures, but it also means more heat waves and more wildfires. And that adds more emissions to the atmosphere. It's what happened in the Americas to a historic level last year. And as we push the world past its safe operating limits, its systems will stop working in our favor. Carbon sinks, like forests, will become less effective, making it more difficult for us to mitigate climate change, leading to more dangerous and more expensive consequences. But again, none of this should be a surprise. We've known that this would happen. We've had the data, we've had the analysis, there have been papers written on this for decades. Should you be worried about this? Yes. Is this a surprise? No. So what can we do about this? Well, we could start by listening to the recommendations that scientists have been making for decades, such as not burning fossil fuels for our energy sources and instead building out clean sources like renewables. We can also invest land and resources into growing fruit and vegetables for us to eat instead of growing feedstock for cattle. Basically, stop ignoring the problem and the warnings of scientists and instead listen to their recommendations. Scientists have been telling us about these risks for a long time, and to people who've been listening, none of this is surprising. To those of you who haven't been listening, I hope this has been your wake-up call.